the sky turned dark as night. Oh, yeah, it rained for 5 days and the sky turned dark as night. Oh, there was trouble taking place in the lowlands late at night. Well, I woke up in the morning, I couldn't get out my door.
So Keith, you've just recorded a new album called Transcendence.
Yep.
And it's your first, I believe, that you recorded out in Poland. Tell us a little bit about why you chose to record out there and who's in the band these days.
Well, I've been playing out in Poland now for maybe 15 years, maybe twice a year for 15 years now, and gradually got to the point where now I have my own band out there, and that's Jacek Krasinski on bass, Arthur Malik on drums. And last year when we were touring, we had a couple of days off, so we decided to go into the studio instead of waste our time and just see what we could come up with. And we just ran through a bunch of ideas, some songs that we were doing live, and a couple of ideas we made up on the spot.
So it wasn't there wasn't a sort of definitive idea to we must record an album while I'm on the tour. It was just something that was sort of organic.
No, it was a spur of the moment thing, really. We just, not to waste the time, we went into the studio and we didn't really have any fixed ideas what we were going to do. But the result is that we spent a couple of days in studio in Poland, and then I brought all the files back over here and finished it off here, and I think it's pretty good.
That's one way of not letting the bassist be too loud in the mix.
Exactly. You see, there's method in my madness. Yeah.
So what kind of material were you doing?
Well, as I said, it was a little bit of what we were doing live. Some songs that hadn't been recorded, but we were doing live, and it's blues rock. It's my material. It's a bit of a move on from the last album, Catch the Fire. It's the same kind of vibe, but I wanted to also pay homage to some of my people that have influenced me over the years. So there's a little bit of influence in there that you'll probably be able to tell, the trained ear will tell as they listen to the songs.
So not necessarily all our listeners being trained ears. Who are some of your influences?
Well,
then?
Peter Green is an obvious one. There's a track on there called Surrender, and it's very Peter Greenish, and he was a big influence. It's all the early blues rock players, Rory Gallagher. There's a bit of slide guitar on there that's hints of Rory Gallagher, and but it's me using all those influence, put it into a melting pot, and out comes what I sound like.
To call you a veteran bluesman, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
You're a veteran bluesman. How do you find the scene nowadays? There's a lot of younger players, a lot of younger bands coming into it, so it's definitely had a shot in the arm. How's that reflected in what you do and the work you do and where you play?
I don't know. I think I'm one of the lucky ones that managed to keep on touring in Europe. The scene in the UK for someone like me is a little bit difficult. I think the morale is low, but you did mention there are some very good up and coming, well, not up and coming, some of them are soaring ahead, aren't they? Yeah. Amazing young players, and so that can only be a healthy thing. But I think they're probably finding that they're doing more in Europe or abroad than they are here. But hopefully the scene will change, you know.
It's always a difficulty, isn't it, with playing and bands to make the economic model work. Can you do that touring Europe? Because it must be quite expensive.
Well, fortunately, we love the 3-piece. We sometimes have an add-on. You know, we had a harp player once, and we also had a keyboard. And we've used sax before, but we basically format it around the 3-piece, which it works for us economically. You don't need such a big vehicle to travel around in, and less rooms to pay for, and all that kind of thing. So, yes, it does work financially, just about, and.
It's your agent. Just saying there's a gig come up in Poland. Can you get there tomorrow?
But it's strange to me, everybody seems to know my name. And they give me advice, they say I only got myself to blame. Yeah, I carry this heavy load, just working on the railroad. Everybody seems to know where I went wrong. But all I ever wanted to do was play my own song. And if I take more, I'll explode, just working on the railroad. Well, I went down to the station, feels like I missed all the signs. Yeah, I went down to the station, but I never got there on time. It's like the train's already gone, she's rolling down the line. Oh, yeah.
I tend to write on my own and take the ideas to the band. They're just an accomplished rhythm section that just can do exactly what I've got in mind. It just seems to be natural. It works.
I've
in
got
very-
visions of
yeah.
Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker, but that obviously isn't
Not
right.
quite, but you know, it is that kind of idea. That no, they don't have any input into the writing, but they may suggest things in the arrangement, I suppose, of the song. The songs come in various ways. I mean, we were in the studio in Poland, and we thought what we need is a more up-tempo one. And so I thought, well, just give us a second, and went out over into a corner and came up with something, and then did it.
Is that
So
a sense
it
of
was
coming
quite-
up with something on the guitar straight away? So you
Yeah.
literally out of nowhere you'll find a riff and you think, yeah, that'll do, let's work on this. Or do you have, like, you know, in your phone 40 riffs
No,
for any
well,
given occasion?
No, I do that. I do record ideas on the phone, but on this occasion it was just it was quite a simple riff, really, and the song was called "Feel Like Like a Stranger." It's about how I can be at home in Krakow, but sometimes don't feel at home in my own town. That was kind of idea. So I just came up with these
Prophet's
lyrics.
never welcome in his own
Yeah,
town.
it's that
isn't
kind
it?
of idea,
Yeah.
exactly. And I just came up with the idea, wrote some of the lyrics. I suppose I edited them a little bit later and polished them up, but you know, the basic idea was there on the spot.
Well, we build our castles, and then we walk away. We've got politicians on the left and the right, offering better days. Well, the rich get richer, so squeeze on the rest. Oh, with every step we take, we feel a little more distressed. Well, I feel like a stranger in my hometown. Well, I wanna climb on up, but you keep bringing me down. I don't seem to belong, just being who I wanna be. But I ain't gonna back down now.
And like a lot of musicians these days, you've got your own imprint that you release your stuff on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did that evolve? And is it difficult running your label now? Because you've got to be a label boss and the band boss and the guitarist and the writer. You're doing a lot of
Well,
stuff
yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, in the early days, all our musician dreams were all about getting signed to a major label. But what you're going to do while you're waiting for that lottery to come in, you kind of just have to get on with it, don't you? And then you realise a few years down the track, well, actually, I'm kind of doing it now. and it was just by necessity. You end up doing it all yourself. You had to be your own booking agent, your own web designer, because you can't afford to pay somebody to do it. And running a label was something I never really thought I would do, but I had a couple of independent record labels that signed me for a period, but I guess I've outlasted them. So I've now got my own label, and I just produce my albums on my own label.
It really is a cottage industry, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I kind of like that, because you're in control of it artistically, creative, design the sleeve of the album, you produce the album musically, write the songs, and you know where you're going to play, and you know how you're going to release it, and it's kind of, there's a sense of satisfaction in that when you've done it yourself, and then you see it happening.